With the upcoming Flight Simulator 2024, and I wanting to start taking private pilot lessons, I needed to find a viable simulator that would be the most realistic with their Steam Gauge Cessna 172 add-ons, payware or freeware. Of course, I had X-Plane 11 before Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 came out, but I only really flew the Zebo and Level Up 737s. That all changed after Flight Simulator 2020 came out, and I certified the default A320. It was absolute sh**. But not long after, the fly-by-wire team made the A32NX, and that was something that I greatly enjoyed. After PMDG released the 737-700, I bought it and flew it instead of the A320, and simming in airliners was great. But once it came to my private pilot's license, I decided it was time to step up my Cessna 172 game, and I ended up getting myself the WBSim Cessna 172 and Boris Audio Pack for Flight Simulator 2020. Not too long ago from today, I ended up purchasing the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172 because of its many features, including a hands-on walk-around feature. Today, I think it is time to see which might be better for me, and for me to share what I hope will be in the new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 that is kind of missing at the moment. Thanks for tuning in. Now, let's begin. The AirFoil Labs Cessna 172 has a lot more to offer than the WBSim Cessna 172 out of the box. With the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172, the walk-around requires nothing more than opening the door and stepping out to finish all the required pre-departure checks. On the other hand, with WBSim Cessna 172, you have to have an add-on to complete the walk-around, or you need to use the drone camera if you want to venture outside the aircraft. When completing the walk-around, there aren't any click spots for tie-downs or checks, but there is a menu add-on that I installed which allows me to remove tie-downs when I reach that specific location. With the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172, on the other hand, it is much more interactive and true to life with how you can complete the walk-around. You can look into the fuel tanks, sump fuel, check the flight services, make sure the oil quantity is in the green, check for obstructions in the ports, and so much more. There are also more options on what to do in the cockpit, such as removing the control lock, opening doors and windows, and so much more. One thing that both of the aircraft have are working circuit breakers, tie-downs, chocks, revised fuel flow rates, and custom features not present in the default Cessna 172s, such as spark foulings and engine floodings. When it comes to taxiing, I feel that the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172 is a bit more realistic. Turning takes a bit more time, and the rudder does not feel as loose as in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. In Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, the rudder seems to have a bit of an instant effect on the airplane. The moment once full right rudder is applied, there is basically no friction or delay, and the plane will just make the turn. I spoke to a friend who flies the Cessna 172 in real life, and he stated that the steering on the ground felt very loose at times. But on the other hand, he said that it felt relatively realistic when in the air and when following normal operations. Personally, I feel both planes do exceptionally well, but the flaps on the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172 have a higher effect on drag and how fast the plane descends. Even though I haven't landed a Cessna 172 yet, I can say that it seemed a bit more realistic with the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172, but I did not have my hands on when I was landing the Cessna 172. That was what my instructor was doing. I was just flying it in the air and taking it off. Hopefully I'll be able to land sometime in this August when I officially begin my lessons, and I'll be able to confirm it 100% then. What I can say about the WBSim Cessna 172 is when it comes to landing at full flaps, it descends relatively quickly, but with the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172, its descent rate is slowed down, and it takes a little bit more time to reach the runway, and it also requires a bit of a steeper descent. Both planes are amazing to fly, but I feel with the extensive feature list of the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172, I find it more appealing towards my training. Even though X-Plane 11 might have all the fancy VFR landmarks and photogrammetry that Microsoft Flight Simulator has to offer, it definitely has a better payware Cessna 172 that is more tailored to my needs. I think for training on how the Cessna 172 operates, I'll use the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172 for now, but for VFR operations using landmarks, I will probably switch to the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 WBSim Cessna 172. Overall, the price difference is not too far apart for both planes. There's only about a $3 to $4 difference between the two, but if you have X-Plane 11 or 12, at least I'm pretty sure this is compatible with 12, If you plan on practicing walk-around, engine start, and traffic pattern procedures, and more that you would find in the actual C172, I feel that the AirFoil Labs C172 will be better for you because of its walk-around being in great detail, it having an extensive failure list, very realistic flight model, which on the website is quoted to be tested by pilots and instructors, and there was so much more that it is offered. On the other hand, if you are going to be flying VFR, and you are going to be using VFR landmarks that can only be seen with photogrammetry, I would highly recommend Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 with the WBSim C172, especially if adding the photogrammetry or any VFR landmarks is not possible in X-Plane. One bonus that I see with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is the working title mod for the GNS 430 and 530. Working title is currently improving and constantly updating the default GNS 430 and 530, making them more true to life and adding more features than what is seen by default. Because I personally fly VFR for the most part, I cannot really judge whether the working title GNS 530 and 430 are true to life or realistic, and how they would act if they were in the real aircraft. That is where you, the viewer, can comment down below what you think. Other than that, I feel that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has some amazing features and has some amazing developers that are always adding on. But some things that I do feel, as mentioned earlier, should be fixed in the 2024 or in upcoming versions of 2020, by that I mean through updates or patches. I feel that turning in 2020, as my friend who flies C172s said, it is very, very fidgety. Feels very loose at times. When you make a right turn, it just happens immediately. And sometimes when you're in the air, adding a right rudder just a little tad bit can throw the airplane off, because I feel like it has 100% exact effect. There's no delay or anything, it just happens, and it's not smooth, it's like twitchy, it's loose, it's just not that realistic according to him, and I feel that I can say the same thing. Turning big airliners sometimes feels like it's going a bit too fast, and like there's no delay time for any servos to move, or I don't know how to describe it exactly. I'm not a commercial airline pilot, but it does feel a bit twitchy than it would be in real life, especially with the 172s. Same thing with my friend, he can agree on that, and he flies 172s. But other than that, if there are any other planes you want me to compare, feel free to comment them down below, and I will try my best to either purchase and review them, or make a video on them if I already have it. Thank you for tuning in, keep an eye out for any upcoming videos that I will be releasing, and see you next time. Happy flying.